Hello and welcome one, welcome all, and welcome to you for joining us today for this postgraduate student Q&A. Today we're going to be answering lots and lots of questions that folk have been sending in. Maybe you've sent these in over the past few while. And today we have some of the finest postgraduate students that the University of Glasgow has to offer. And so they'll be answering all your questions with some of the best advice you can possibly ask for if you're thinking of coming to the University of Glasgow. I'm going to let the team of students introduce themselves, but first, my name's Gavin. I'm part of the UK student recruitment team here at the University of Glasgow, and I'll be posing the questions to the students. So I've got the easy job of putting the questions to them, and the guys will be able to answer all those questions. So without any further ado, I'll let the team introduce themselves. So I'll come to you first, Mia.
Hi everyone, I'm Mia. I'm from England. I study an MRes in management.
Perfect, thank you, Mia. And we will come to Kevin now.
Hi everyone, I'm a final year PhD student in music, and I'm from Glasgow.
Cheers, Kevin, and we'll come to you, Precious.
Hi everyone, I'm Precious, and I study Masters in Sciences in Biomedical Engineering. I'm from Nigeria.
Fantastic, thank you. So as you can see, we have students studying lots of different subjects from all across the world. So hopefully we should get a good idea of what it's like to study here at Glasgow, especially if you are maybe not from Glasgow. There's got some good questions that we'll be covering to kind of get a good idea of what it's like to come to Glasgow. So we'll get started on this. So very first question, why did you choose to study at the University of Glasgow? That sounds like a nice easy question to get us off and running. I'll come to you first, Mia. So why Glasgow?
So I think the main reason why I came to Glasgow is because it's such a cultural city. Like there's so much to do. The music scene here is amazing, as is the theatre scene. And then like as well, the university is amazing, particularly the business school. It's like world renowned. So those are the two reasons really, like the city, but then also the academic credentials of the university.
I couldn't agree with you more. When you're talking about Glasgow, the city kind of drew you in with its music and stuff. I think Glasgow has it over in normal times about over 120 gigs a week, which is phenomenal. I don't know if you do go to many like gigs and stuff like that when you're back when you were able to when you're in Glasgow, Mia.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I love my music. So
what's been the biggest act or your favourite acts that you've seen in Glasgow?
Definitely Belle and Sebastian, because they're based in Glasgow. So that was amazing getting to see them. That was my first gig in Glasgow as well. So it was
very good answer. I approve of that answer. Fantastic. Yeah, Glasgow absolutely adores its music, so that's a good start. And Precious, come to you now. So what was the thing that drew you towards Glasgow?
Okay, so for me, that would be my first time of leaving my country, which is Nigeria, and I was actually looking for a friendly city, and apparently Glasgow is quite friendly, and besides that, University of Glasgow is renowned for its engineering courses, so it was actually a good fit.
Yeah, so it's the kind of combination of absolutely everything there for you, the friendliness of Glasgow, that's brilliant. I think we have been ranked as the friendliest city in the world by things like Rough Guides and stuff like that. So Glasgow is renowned for that, and I'm glad that has drawn you in. So we've got fantastic students like yourself coming from Nigeria to Glasgow. And Kevin, what was it about Glasgow that sealed the deal for you?
Yeah, I have to definitely echo what Mia said. Glasgow is just amazing for the art scene in general, and for me particularly music. For going to gigs, but also for more like classical and experimental music. There's so many venues around Glasgow, and the actual university itself has such a strong research culture. No matter kind of what subject area you're looking to study, I'm sure you'll find a great department to work in.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point as well. The Glasgow being a Russell Group institution, we absolutely adore research, and the research does stem right across from studying research in the arts all the way to the sciences. A lot of people often think research, that's lab coats and laboratories. It can also be lots of other things, so that's a really good point as well. Kevin, I also just need to bring up how amazing the plants in your room are. I feel like on to the next question where I'm going to ask you about how it's been like studying online and not on campus. I'd love to study in that room, just surrounded by lots of plants. It looks really natural, lots of nice air, oxygen. And yes, I'll probably come to you for this question. How has it been studying online this year, learning online and not being on campus? How have you found it, Kevin?
Sure, that's a good question. And yeah, I strongly believe that you should make your study space as comfortable and enjoyable as possible. But for me, as a PhD student, you're often kind of working on your own. So I'm in arts, so often kind of working my own. I'm not necessarily going into a lab as such, maybe if you're in sciences. So in that regard, it wasn't too much of a shock, but it's been challenging, not being able to see people in person or to carry out my research with musicians and performers. But I think the university has done really well in adapting to the online format. And I teach as well, so I'm a graduate teaching assistant, and I've also been on the end of delivering teaching. It's challenging, but I think the university has definitely been able to make it work, hopefully.
Yeah, fantastic. And you're so right in making sure that your space around you is right for learning. That's been that's probably a good top tip as well for folk watching in. Mia, how about you? How have you found the learning online experience, and has the university supported you in any way?
So I'm kind of in the middle. I'm like between Kevin and Precious in that I do have some taught elements, but then also research elements. So in terms of the research elements, kind of just to echo what Kevin said, you're basically on your own anyway. So there wasn't that much difference from what I was expecting. But then I'd actually say, to be honest, I feel like I've learned better online than in person, which I'm sure some people might not agree with. But for me, it was much easier in terms of having like the recorded lectures, having access to the materials, and the online Zooms. Like my course convener was so good at making everyone be involved, like making sure we all understood. So I would actually probably say it was actually better than learning in person.
Oh, wow.
I feel like I picked more up, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. So no complaints there from me.
Yeah. I think that's such an interesting point, because I think a lot of folk maybe who have gone into even working from home or studying at home might have found that they're actually better than they were on campus, which is definitely quite an interesting thing, and it might shape the way we learn and work in the future as well. So that is quite an interesting thing to look at. And I'm glad that you found it nice, and you've probably flourished under this circumstances. But the university has been quite nice and been able to adapt to it quite strongly as well. Coming on to the next question up, feeling kind of, obviously Kevin's made himself feel very settled in his learning space there with lots of plants and stuff like that. Coming to Scotland's might be quite a big deal for quite a lot of folks. So Precious, how easy was it to settle into a life in a new country for you? How easy was it to settle into Glasgow?
Okay, so initially it was a struggle because of the weather change, and because of the pandemic, I had to quarantine for like 14 days. But besides that, it was quite good because people here are quite friendly, and in my accommodation, people were like ready to help. So settling in wasn't an issue because they are quite friendly people. It's almost unbelievable that people can be this friendly. They are always like in your business and like, do you need help with this? Do you need help with that? And the university actually made sure to always send emails to keep up with how international students were settling in. So yeah, that was quite helpful.
Good. So it's glad to hear that even in the times of pandemic and quarantine, and you were even then able to feel the kind of warmth of Glasgow and the warmth of the University of Glasgow looking after you. And so it was 2 weeks you had to quarantine for in Glasgow, wasn't one?
Yes, 14 days.
Cool. And but in that time, I assume you were quite indoors, so you weren't exposed to the
Yeah.
How have you found the weather in Scotland? Is that, you said you did mention it's been cold?
Yeah, it's quite cold. Like, I don't think there is a getting used to it, but I'm trying. Like, I came in September, and right now I can say I'm adjusting quite fine. I guess it's just because it's spring, but it's still a struggle.
I mean, like, we'll come on to this later on, but you might not be able to see. I've tried to fix my lighting to try and hide the sunburn I got over this weekend. So the sun does shine in Scotland occasionally, and it can probably burn us. But yeah, thanks for that, Precious. Next up, obviously coming to Glasgow, finding accommodation is one of these amazing things that Glasgow has. Some of the best places. It's one of the most affordable cities in the United Kingdom to live in, with fantastic quality of life, access to lots of transport links and everything like that. So how do you decide where to live, and was it easy to find accommodation? And Mia, I'm going to come to you for that.
Yeah, so when I first came to Glasgow, would have been 4 years ago now, I was in university halls. And even though it was a few years ago, I would say like the university halls experience is amazing. If that's where you choose to live, then absolutely go for it. And my flatmate at the moment was in postgrad halls before we moved in together, and he loved it too. So if you choose to live in halls, that's great. I'm in private accommodation in a private rented flat, but I live in Partick, which is a really, really nice area. So many like bars, cafes, and great transport links. Like we've got a train station, bus station, and a subway station. So you can get all around Glasgow from Partick and also all the way out to the rest of Scotland, which is ace.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think Partick is such a cool place to live. And I think it was one of the kind of big magazines has done lots. I think it's Time Out magazine always kind of does this big list of the trendiest places in the UK to live. And lots of little kind of areas of Glasgow have cropped up in that list over the past few years. I know Denniston, which is the kind of east of the city centre, was in it this year. That Partick's been on it, Finiston's been on it as well, and they're both areas that lots of our students do tend to live in, especially our postgrads, because those are kind of areas in and around the university. But you're right in saying, yeah, we've got the student accommodation as well through the university, but as you're saying, the private accommodation is quite easy to find. We do have got a lot of support for that as well. So you've got things like Facebook pages you can join to just kind of get into the community of Glasgow, get an idea of, more often than not, a lot of our kind of postgrad students and students moving out of flats will often post the flats they've been in for the past few years, and then they'll kind of offer that up for you guys to move into as well. So lots of really nice community. As Precious was saying, we're really good at looking after each other at the University of Glasgow and in Glasgow in general. So hopefully that's a good way to help you find some accommodation. But yeah, so moving on to the next question. If you are maybe coming to Glasgow, yes, you might be coming from quite far afield. If you're feeling homesick, lonely, is it easy to get help at Glasgow? And I'll come to you for that, Kevin. How would you counteract homesickness and loneliness?
Yeah, that's a good question. We actually have loads of different societies at Glasgow Uni, not just for undergrads, but for all students to join, including postgraduates. So there's different societies, maybe from different countries, so you can kind of find your compatriots and maybe discuss your experiences together. There's loads of ways to get involved in like community. So both Mia and I actually sit on the Students' Representative Council, and that's like another way to get involved. You can be a class rep and meet loads of other new students. If you're feeling lonely and you want to meet other people.
Yeah, and so like there's lots of, like, as you were saying, like the SRC has lots of kind of clubs and societies you can join. And you're talking about there are clubs and societies for people coming from different countries and different areas as well. Do you know of any of them that you can maybe bring up? The kind of like country societies there, because I know there's like the Irish and Northern Irish Student Society.
I'm not sure exactly, but that's something you can check out. Like on the university and website, there's a list of all the different organizations and groups you can join.
Cool. Yeah. No. So I was putting you under the spot there, trying to make. We do have like over 300 clubs and societies, so I was like, say some of them, but yeah, if you jump onto the SRC website, you'll find lots there. The one I did actually just mention, the Northern Irish and Irish Student Society, is the one that I will always bang on about, just because it's the initials of it is the Glasgow University Irish and Northern Irish Student Society, which spells Guinness in a kind of weird form. So it's an absolute genius work of art from some of our student clubs and societies. But they're really, really good ways, as you were saying, Kevin, to kind of meet new people, meet people from similar backgrounds as you, similar interests as you. And yes, you're coming here to do studying, to study and to learn, but you're also coming here to feel part of something bigger. And joining the clubs and societies is a great way of doing that. So it's really glad that you brought that up. And one of the other things as well is that a lot of postgrad students often come to Glasgow or go to university thinking, oh, the clubs and societies, the sports teams, they're not for me. But they're absolutely, postgrad students are more than welcome to join them. So it's really, really great for that. And so for kind of looking more at kind of support available for PhD students and specifically PhD students, what kind of support is available for the students? I'll come to you, Mia.
Sorry, my laptop just locked. There we go. I think a really big thing for the PhD students is definitely the PhD Society. They are so friendly, so nice, really wide range of subjects in the society. I think the second thing is like obviously the relationship you have with your supervisor. So I know my supervisor, my MRes, is like really, really nice. If I have an issue, I can always go to him. So there's like the two prongs, I guess. You've got the PhD Society and then also your supervisor. And if you've got any like external interests, like if you're really into sport or your theatre or you're debating, like all the societies will be more than happy to welcome you. Like the people involved in societies are just like the loveliest people ever. So don't be scared to get involved and get yourself out there and meeting some new people.
Yeah, excellent. And Kevin, anything else to add on to that for the support for PhD students? And maybe even also how did you guys get involved with the SRC? Because I suppose that's also quite a good support body as well.
Yeah, I definitely just reinforce what Mia was saying. The PhD Society is a great organization. I'm involved with that too. And they put on loads of social events. And even like during lockdown, they've been super busy in having like, you know, new PhD Society meetups, different like events to meet people that aren't just, you know, a Zoom meeting. You know, there's like pub quizzes or like virtual events on GatherTown. There's also a recently introduced a PhD mentoring scheme. So you can either sign up to be a mentor if you're more experienced, or if you're a new PhD student, you might want a mentee. So, you know, someone else that's doing a PhD that's gone through the things that you've gone through, that's, you know, separate from your supervisor. It's a really great scheme and like a nice way to receive support. Yeah, in terms of the SRC, I didn't really get involved when I was younger, and it wasn't until now when I'm in my PhD that I've been involved. But that's also been a great way to meet other people and kind of make new contacts and like have a different form of socialization and getting to know people, and again see what other PhD students are going through, maybe in different colleges, different subjects, and see what their experience is like, and, you know, comparing them and getting to know others a bit more.
That's so good to know. It's one of the things that I have also often thought of, especially when if you're coming as an undergraduate to Glasgow, you know there's going to be thousands of others joining the same classes and the same year groups. So there's going to be lots of folk in the same kind of place as you. Whereas postgrad, it's a lot more kind of specific and a lot more kind of smaller sections and smaller classes and more one-to-one. So it's good that you can, especially that mentoring scheme where you can kind of meet up with someone or even virtually do it with someone who's in the same boat as you. So that's really good to hear that exists. So that's quite interesting. Kevin, I'm also going to come back to you just to ask you what the academics are like. I know you said that you are doing a wee bit of teaching yourself, so remove yourself from the teacher side of things and tell me what it's like what the other academics are like.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think in most subject areas you'll find, you know, a wide array of different academics, you know, specializing in certain areas. So depending on what you're interested in, even if they're not your supervisor, you can feel like you can go and speak to them for maybe advice or for their perspective on a certain topic that maybe you don't have as much experiences in. And I would just say that they're always great at supporting PGRs. If you have problems, you can go to your supervisor, or if you have problems with your supervisor, you can go to someone else. And there really is, a network of support there for you in terms of the staff and the academics. And it's really interesting to see, what people specialize in. And we have world leaders in different areas. So I'm in music. We have a world leader in the music of Bach. It's quite interesting. There's loads on offer.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that is really fantastic about Glasgow, is just the number of just world-class academics that we have. There's a bit of our website, so if you're looking to find out all these kind of, Kevin was mentioning supervisors, we actually have a bit of a website called Search for Supervisor. So just type in University of Glasgow, Search for Supervisor, and that'll bring up and then you can type in the kind of area that you're wanting to learn in. It'll bring up all the people who have that as an area of their expertise. So you can really find out, you can read their bios, anything they have published. It's a really great tool just to find out who we actually have here at the University of Glasgow. It's really also quite good just to kind of, as Kevin was saying, even if you have one, you're working with a supervisor, just to see what else the university has to offer as well and find out a bit more about that. So yeah, definitely suggest having a look on that. That's one of the things that when we're doing fairs and virtual fairs as well, that's one of the questions we hear a lot of, like how to find supervisors. So I definitely suggest jumping on to the website there. So thanks for that, Kevin. So moving on to the teaching style. So the academics, obviously they're abundant in number, and I imagine there's lots of different ways that they can teach and pass on their knowledge. Precious, how have you found the teaching styles here at Glasgow for the academics?
Okay, so I've not actually been privileged to be in a classroom, but since I got here, I've been doing live lectures, and most of them are actually live and some of them are pre-recorded. And I actually tend to gravitate more into the pre-recorded ones, because that way you can always come back and go over something you don't understand. And the live lectures are mostly recorded as well. So getting ready for exam isn't exactly that tough, because you can always come back and check on something you missed during the live lectures, or just to be able to catch up with studies. So I find it quite good.
Yeah, so you've actually quite enjoyed the virtual way of learning as well, Precious. Like, I know Mia was saying she was quite enjoying it. So are you in the same boat as that as well?
I mean, it would have been preferable to meet my classmates in person, but either ways, the university is still trying as much as possible to deliver the same quality of teaching, just like they do in classrooms, and I think that's good.
Excellent. And that's good. I mean, it's definitely a different approach we've had to do over this pandemic to move on to online learning, and we obviously can't wait to get people back on to do one-on-one, face-to-face, just meeting folk again and learning in that ways. But I'm glad that you guys have had quite good experiences from the virtual learning as well. So going back to, just if I can get you three to hark way back to when you were actually applying to do your PhD or your master's, your postgrads. How did you find the process? How easy is it to apply for a master's or PhD? And we'll come to you first, Kevin.
Yeah, I found the process quite easy. I mean, as you mentioned before, Gavin, you can go on the website and find out about potential supervisors. And then from there, you could get in touch with them and, set up a meeting or a conversation about potential supervisors. And then from there, the application process, thinking back, was fairly straightforward for me. Yeah.
Cool. And Mia, am I right in saying, did you do your undergrad at Glasgow as well?
Yeah.
So how did you find the process of transitioning across?
I mean, applying was one of the most simplest and straightforward forms that I've ever filled in online. When you go into the applicant self-service portal, it's so easy and pretty comprehensive to understand. yeah, it was relatively simple, especially because I already knew quite a lot of the academics in my school. So I could speak to them and say, like, do you think I'm a good fit for the program? What kind of program would you recommend that I apply for? And even if you're not already a student at the university, any member of staff will be more than happy to help you. If you're confused about which program to apply for, or if you're looking at doing a PhD or an MRes, what kind of area that you'd want to specialise in, the staff are always more than happy to help you and listen to any problem that you might have when you're trying to apply.
Excellent. That's really good to know as well. And Precious, how did you find the whole process of applying to Glasgow?
Okay, so just like Mia said, it was quite easy. And for most of the postgraduate courses, when you try to apply from my country, you'd probably need an agent. But I was actually able to do the whole application process myself. And at a point, after getting my admission letter, the university actually assigned an international representative to me. So she helped towards the whole process of paying my fees and getting my accommodation and stuff. So it was quite easy, and the university was helpful as well.
Excellent. Really good to know. One of the other things that we do get asked a lot when we're doing either virtual fairs or fairs in person, or when people are emailing us with some questions, they're asking about funding and if scholarships are available. So Kevin, I don't know if you can expand on if there are scholarships available, how they can find them, and how that can kind of add to the process of applying.
Yes, certainly. So it's easy to apply to the university to do a PhD, but to apply for funding and scholarships is an entirely different matter. But there's definitely funding available. In terms of the university has its own kind of scholarships that you can apply to that will fund your fees, as well as perhaps provide you with a stipend. But you can also apply to, depending on which area you're in, there'll be like a Scottish-wide kind of cohort you can also apply to. So for my case in arts, there's the Scottish Graduate School of Arts and Humanities. There's one for like political sciences, social and political sciences as well. So there's kind of different routes you can apply for kind of PhD funding.
Yeah, no, that's really good to know. Yeah, so lots of information up on our website, and you'll see that there's actually the address to their website is up on the screen right now. So if you head along to that, you will find quite a lot of information that's really, really useful for you if you're looking for scholarships. Staying on the money side of things in the same theme, Mia, how hard is it to, is it possible for a postgrad student to work in a part-time job while they're also doing their postgrads here at Glasgow? And how is there support available? Is it easy to do? Just that whole area of, is it possible to be a postgrad and also have a part-time job?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely possible. At the moment, I've got 2 jobs. So I work for the SLC as a class rep trainer, and then I'm also currently on furlough, going back this weekend from my waitressing job. The staff are more than happy if you say I can't make your office hour. Could we move it because I'm in work? That's fine. I think as well with working, people think I might not have the time, but the benefit of learning online is the resources are there 24/7. So it's not like you'll be missing things because you have to take a shift. And in terms of finding a job, I would say it's relatively simple because Glasgow is such a big place. I live in the West End, but I work in the East End, and it just takes a 15-minute train journey. So it's really not difficult to find a job. There's so many different bars, cafes, shops that are always looking for staff. So don't stress if you're worried about A, finding a job, or B, how you'd fit it into your studies, because I'd say it's definitely doable.
Oh, that's really good to know as well. I think that's one of the things that you've probably put a lot of people at ease, thinking, is it going to be possible? I don't think I can pull off a job and study at the same time. So that's really, really good to know. And you're so right. There's just so much, obviously, right now, Glasgow is just opening back up, and we've got restaurants and bars opening back up. Lots of students work in bars and restaurants and shops across the city. Lots and lots of employment. And in fact, the university, I think even the SRC has a job shop. You can go and find out lots of different opportunities around the city as well that fits in really nicely with your work schedule, with your study schedule. So that's really good to know. moving on again, so moving into some more kind of support services that are available from the university. You are supported from even before you've even applied. Right now, you're getting some support from us, finding out about the university and what it's like. But also moving forward on to like after university, the career service at university is really good at looking after students as well. And I don't know, Kevin, if you do you have any chat on the career service?
Yeah, so I can talk about that. Kind of following on Mia's point about working during your studies, whether you're a full-time student or a part-time student, depending on your schedule, you can maybe fit in a part-time job. And the university is good at advertising loads of different part-time positions at the university, and these can be there's also an internship hub. So if you're looking for a specific internship, you can go on and apply there, and it can be quite useful because you can develop skills on research projects, working as like a research assistant or an admin assistant within academia. So it can be really useful for your career going forward. But also the career service is there to support you, as you're finishing your PhD, and they can help provide you with support in terms of what you're going to do afterwards, which of course is one of the main questions you'll be asked towards the end of your studies.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things, again, people often think about is, I'll go into postgrad, but then what's next? What comes after that? And you can rest assured that obviously University of Glasgow being a Russell Group institution, we love our research. The name the University of Glasgow travels across the world. You might be watching this from all over the place. So it really goes to show that coming to Glasgow is a really, really good option. And the support you'll get while you're here is phenomenal. And that will kind of hopefully springboard you into a fantastic career or further study or whatever you're going to do in your wonderful life. So that was a really good answer. Thank you for that, Kevin. We have talked a lot about the kind of university and good places to live and how we've been a supportive place. And Precious, you mentioned it at the start, how Glasgow is a kind of friendly city. I was wondering if you could kind of just go in a bit more detail about why is Glasgow so friendly? What is it that you've noticed about Glasgow that makes it a nice place to be?
Okay, that's a very nice question. I actually got here, and to be honest, even though I read online that it was a friendly city, I just didn't expect the people to be that friendly. Like, you can meet someone, a total stranger, and they're ready to help in any way. Trying to open up a bank as an international student, trying to find a job, there are lots of people ready to help you with that. And the first day I got to my accommodation, the receptionist just took it upon herself to make sure that I was settled in and I had a place to go get my toiletries ready just for my quarantine. And besides that, she kept on checking up on me, and I was wondering if I was the only one in the accommodation, but apparently that's just who they are. Like, they're quite very friendly, and it has helped me to settle in quite well as I got here. Yeah.
That's lovely to hear. You'll tell from my accent that I'm a born and bred Glaswegian, so I'm asking these questions, is Glasgow a friendly city? Hoping that you're not about to break my heart, but it is lovely to hear that here in Glasgow you've had such a nice warm welcome, and particularly from the staff at the University of Glasgow looking out for you, making sure you've got everything you need. So that's really, really good to know as well. And Kevin, again, coming to you, any remarks on the friendliness of Glasgow as a city?
Yeah, I think some people have similar stories to Precious. Anyone, it doesn't matter where you come from or what your background is. Everyone here is particularly like welcoming and friendly. So rest assured, if when you arrive here, there'll be loads of nice people.
Really good to know. Really good to know. I mean, everyone seems to you'll come to Glasgow and then you'll come away with a fantastic story. But I mean, I've been living in Glasgow for so long. I've got plenty of stories, but there's some that just really stick out in my mind. It can be pouring down with the rain, and you can clearly, even if you just look like you've had a bad day. I've had people just offer me like a nice, like some of their chips before, just because you look like you need some chips. Here you go. Total strangers just doing that. Obviously, this is pre-COVID days, but some genuine people who are just really nice. And even the way I used to walk into work, I just had someone, it was like a lovely old man, I used to always give me a wee pep talk in the morning. It's like, oh, off to work now, son? And I was like, oh, yeah. And he was just, I never gave him good chat. I never gave him good chat back, but he was always good. And he was there for me. So, yeah, random strangers in Glasgow are really, really quite friendly. So stick to the crowds in Glasgow and you'll get some fantastic chat. And so what is the kind of area around Glasgow like? So Mia, how easy is it to get around Glasgow? Obviously you said you live in the West End, but you work in the East. So how do you kind of do that kind of transport?
I would say it's so easy to get around. Like I grew up just outside Liverpool, and the comparison between just there, which is like another city in the UK, and here is phenomenal. It's so much easier to get around here. So you've got like the subway, which runs right around the city, starts in the city centre, goes up the West End, down onto the south side. So that's like really easy, simple to use because it's just one line, so you can't get lost. If you miss your stop, you just stay on, and in 15 minutes you'll be at the place where you were meant to get off. So the subway is really useful, especially if you're new to the city. And then we've got the like overground train, which is the train that I get into work, which is really easy to use as well, really cheap. And then we've got a really good bus network as well. So if you're more into your buses than your trains, then that's always an option as well. So really, really easy to get around. And when I first moved here, I remember being so confused. I was like, where is everything? Well, but it's so easy to pick it up, especially because if you choose to live in the West End, you'll be spending most of your time here. And it's a beautiful place and very, very easy to find your bearings and work out where everything is.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. So, I mean, yeah, Glasgow is the largest city in Scotland. So it is actually, it's really large, but it is still, as you were saying, really easy to get around. You can walk a lot of it as well if you're up to that. But as you're saying, the underground of Glasgow is, believe it or not, it's like the third oldest underground system in the entire planet. And like you were saying, that if you're maybe used to some more intricate and hard to work out underground systems, you will have no time, just no hassle at all getting used to the Glasgow Underground. It is literally, as Mia was saying, one big circle with trains going one way and trains going the other, and that's it. It's nice and simple. It just gets you around town, and it's so nice. And it's all a nice kind of, I'm trying to describe the colour, like a burnt orange colour, and yeah, you go to if you've never been to Glasgow before, come to Glasgow, go around on that, take some beautiful photos of that. It's very Instagrammable, if nothing else, the subway, which is really quite good. And if that's part of your decision-making process, then so be it. The Instagram game here is fantastic, so good to know that. Again, coming back to you, Mia, just talking about how you've got roles in the Student Representative Council. We talked a bit about this earlier, about how there's lots of club societies, and so just generally, are they normally a good way to meet lots of folk? And I mentioned earlier how a lot of postgrads might think they're not maybe for them, but can they still join and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course. Like any club will be more than happy to have you. Like my flatmate started this year with his PhD, and he's really into his tennis. And I know he like won an award of like best chat. And like, even though he was like, I can't believe I won this award. Like, oh my god, everyone was so nice to me. So there's literally something for everybody. Like our debating society, the Dialectic Society, are like world-renowned debaters. They'd be more than happy to have you if that's your thing. I used to do a lot of student theatre when I was an undergrad. And we always, when we would have like committee to be like, how do we get more postgrads in? Like, please do not feel like worried or like you're too old or anything to like enjoy the club or society, because you're really not. Like, they'll be more than happy to have you. And we have like over 300 clubs and societies, so there really is something for everybody. No matter what your hobbies are or whether you just want to pick up a new hobby, like there's definitely something for everybody.
That's really good to know. I think I've seen quite a lot of things on Instagram this year, even though when they can't physically meet each other, they're still really good at doing like sort of group sessions of like group workouts and stuff in the sports teams. So even if you are new, you can still meet folk through that. But yes, and is that something, so even you're talking about the debating club and like the tennis club and stuff like that, would you suggest they are really good ways of meeting folk in back in normal times? Is the kind of student life and the interactions there quite strong at Glasgow?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Especially because we have so many students here and there's such a really vibrant population. Like the clubs and societies, a lot of them really are quite big. So you will definitely like find a friend in them because there are so many people, so many great people to meet and chat to. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good to know. So we do have, there's a large university at Glasgow, so we have thousands and thousands of students that it just is your chance that you will find someone who's got similar interests to you. Even if there's something that you really want to start, like if there's a clubs and society that doesn't exist, you're more than welcome to start it up. Even as a postgrad, you can start these up through the SRC, Student Rep Council. And there's really club societies for absolutely everyone. I think there's a Shrek society. If you really love the film Shrek, you can join that. There's club societies for like LGBT community, as we talked about earlier, from the different places you're from as well. They have lots of clubs, and even just subject societies as well. You've got them as well. And Neil's actually mentioned the debating team, which I think has won quite a few world titles, and I think in the Glasgow University Union, there's a big elephant, a big kind of wooden elephant, which is a trophy. I think they won in South Africa back in a good while back now. But that's something to look out for when you come to Glasgow and check that out. So yeah, debating team is fantastic. Now, yeah, we've talked about how wonderful and warm Glasgow is as a kind of feeling city, precious. So we've already kind of touched on this as well. Glasgow, maybe I did get burned at the weekend. But how did you find coming to Glasgow? Does it rain all the time in Scotland, Precious?
Okay, actually, it's weird. Like, I feel there isn't a particular season in Scotland. Like, the weather is so unpredictable. Today is raining, today is sunny. It's sunny in the morning, it's raining in the evening. I'm like, what's going on? The actual fact is, whether it's sunny or it's raining, I'm always cold. I don't know. I just think it's because of where I'm coming from. But Nigeria is quite warm, or should I say hot? So whether it's sunny here, it's literally always cold for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it's definitely one of these things that I think Billy Connolly, which is one of the kind of largest, most famous comedians to come out of Glasgow, he put it, if you just put on a nice good big jacket, you'll have a great time in Glasgow. So it's very, very astute point. But also one of the counterpoints I'll put to you, Precious, if it is cold and it is wet and miserable, Glasgow has plenty of indoor activities like kind of amazing gig venues that Kevin was talking about earlier, like the fantastic museums as well. So yeah. We've got lots and lots of cool stuff as well. So yeah, you're not planning on going to university for the weather. You go to university for the learning and for the people, and I think that's well weighed out at Glasgow. Talking about University of Glasgow and the kind of the facilities and the campus, what are your kind of favourite facilities, Mia? I'll come to you for that. What are your absolute favourite parts of the university?
So it's a new building that opened on Monday, the JMS, the Jim Coon Smith Learning Hub. Wow, best building I've ever been in, no exaggeration. I was in there just before I came home for this live stream. It is a beautiful building, so many study spaces. We've even got showers if you want to come and ride your bike onto campus. So yeah, that's a beautiful building as well. The reading room, that's where I did like loads of my undergraduate studying. It's a really, really nice circular room. Very zen, is how I would describe it. Very peaceful, quiet. So they're my two favourite places on campus. And then obviously, of course, the cloisters for Instagram pics.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone loves the cloisters, and especially like at kind of winter time when they have the fairy lights up, it just looks fantastic. But yeah, the James McCune Smith building, as you were mentioning there, that has just opened. Just jump on any social media of the University of Glasgow right now. You'll see lots of amazing videos of it. It's so cool. I've not been to see it yet, but I can't wait. So I'm jealous that you've been to see it. So that's first on my list when I get to go on the campus. So thanks for that. Coming to our very final questions now, team. So just nice ones to kind of things you've said so far have been so useful, and I'm sure everyone watching is really quite enjoying this and taking a lot from it. But just any kind of like final tips that you wish you'd known before you joined the University of Glasgow. So I'll come to all three of you for this. So top tips for joining the University of Glasgow, and I'll come to you first, Mia.
I think my main top tip would be don't be scared to get involved. If you see something on social media or you hear word of mouth from your friends about a certain club or society, just get stuck in. go to one of their meetings, jump on one of their Zoom calls. Yeah, that's my biggest piece of advice is don't be scared to put yourself out there and get involved with whatever you feel passionate or excited about joining.
Yeah, I would absolutely echo that. Yeah, Glasgow's a place to follow your passions and try out the things you want to do. Absolutely. Precious, how about you? What's your top tip?
Okay, so first it would be getting my jackets ready all times, and then secondly, it would be actually trying to have a relationship with your lecturers, because masters is just 1 year and so much can happen in 1 year and so little can happen in 1 year. So just to make quite good use of the 1 year, you should be able to have particular relationship with your lecturers, because they will help in the long run. So yeah.
Yeah, excellent. And how about you, Kevin? How about your top tip for coming to Glasgow?
Both all of those tips are really good, but I would say make the most of the opportunities and affordances during your time as a PhD student, because at Glasgow there are loads of kind of courses you can do, seminars, workshops, in addition to your actual studies. Like if you want to further develop your teaching skills or, you know, leadership skills, project management, there's loads of like courses always being run. So like keep an eye out on what's being run and like go and do them.
Yeah, again, really, really great advice. And probably the advice that I've got from you, Kevin, as well, is get more plants in my flat. Look how I feel very sparse. I feel like I need a bit more life in my room. So yeah, you've inspired me there, Kevin. Thank you for that. But we're going to come to a very final question next. But just before I come to why, what the best part about being a student at the University of Glasgow is, I'd just like to thank the three of you for joining us and giving us your experiences, your stories. Precious for telling us, warning us to bring jackets. It's really crucial stuff we do need to know, and it's just been really nice to have a chat with you guys. So I hope you've enjoyed sharing your experiences with everyone who's watching. It's been really, really good fun. But we'll come to that final question now. So just to give you a wee bit of time there, what the best part about being a student at the University of Glasgow? And we'll go reverse order. So we'll go Kevin first. Best part.
Oh, that's a tough one. Just kind of going on from what I said earlier, there's just so much on offer. And as Mia was saying as well, like socially, there's so many clubs, like you mentioned a few. I mean, just get involved and like make the most of your time, because there's so much out there within the university in terms of clubs or programs or courses, but also, you know, within the wider city, like we were talking about the arts and the concerts, and like the food scene is great too. There's just so much. So like make the most of your time.
Excellent. Cheers. And Precious, how about you? What was your best part about being a University of Glasgow student?
Okay, so the university actually delivers I don't want to exaggerate, but I would say the best kind of education. So the best part is actually choosing to take part in this community, the University of Glasgow community, because it's a lot. I mean, half of what Kevin and Mia talked of, I don't think I've known half of almost everything, but the little I know, because it helps in your leadership skills, it helps in just how well or how broad you're to see each course. Each course has something that relates to life in general, and it's just amazing.
Excellent. Lovely to hear. And finally, last but not least, Mia, what was your favourite part about being a student here?
I think my favourite part about being a student here is we are all like one big family. Like we've got such a great, vibrant community. Everyone really looks out for each other. If you ever have a problem, the staff are always more than happy to help you. The students here are amazing. Like I remember saying in my first year, everyone who picked Glasgow picked it for a reason. And that's because we all want to be here. So everyone's got like a really good attitude. Everyone's super friendly. So yeah, definitely the best thing about being a student here is being part of our community.
Yeah, that's an excellent way to finish it. Yeah, thanks for that, Mia. The team UofG is just so fantastic. We all love to be part of it. and it is a great community, as you guys were saying. So thank you very much for that answer, and thank you indeed again for the three of you for answering those questions, and thank you for watching as well. This has been, the time has absolutely flown in. We've covered lots of questions that you guys have been sending in over the past few while. It has been so good to finally get some students to answer these questions, and hopefully their responses and stories have been really useful for you, and I really hope they have made the kind of the difference for you when you're thinking about coming here to study at the University of Glasgow. That really is all we have time for. If you want more information, please jump on our website. We've got plenty of stuff there, from scholarships, accommodation, even our Ask a Student section where you can talk to students live throughout the year as well. Make sure you check that out. But that really is all from us now. So from Precious, Kevin, Mia and myself, fond farewell, and thank you for watching. Bye now.